Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and taking doing a Floowandereeze deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Rabina. Rabina is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is actually a 1-card combo with the ability, if this card is normal summon, you can actually add a level 4 lower winged beast monster from your deck to your hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, you get to normal summon a winged beast monster, which is an extremely powerful effect to instantly search out your copy of Eaglin, then normal summon Eaglin so you can search out Impin, and then tribute summon Impin going full combo. But all of your level 1 Floowandereeze monsters actually share an awesome common effect that if this face-up card leaves the field, banish it instead, and also if a winged beast monster is normal summoned to your field, while this card is banished, you can actually add this card back to your hand so you can actually chain block your opponent, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Eaglin. Eaglin is definitely a 3-of in the build because if this card is normal summon, you actually get to add a level 7 or higher winged beast monster from your deck to your hand, then normal summon a winged beast monster. We then play 2 copies of Stria. Stria is great to help you control the graveyard because if this card is normal summon, you can actually target a card in either player's graveyard and banish it, then normal summon a winged beast monster. We then play a single copy of Toucan. Toucan is definitely a 1-of in the build, as this card is an awesome fact that if this card is normal summon, you can target a banished Floowandereeze card and add it back to your hand, then normal summon a winged beast monster. We then play 2 copies of Impin. Impin is our big boss monster of the deck, and super cool to be able to summon to our side of the field because you can actually, or if this card is tribute summon, you can actually add a Floowandereeze spell or trap from your deck to your hand, then immediately after the effect resolves, you get to normal summon 1 monster, which is an insane ability because we can actually search out awesome cards directly from our deck to our hand, like Dreaming Town, so we turn our opponent's turn into our turn. This card also has the ability, while this tribute summon card is in the monster zone, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon monsters they control in attack position, which is a crazy powerful effect to help you lock down the field. Also, once per battle, during the damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can actually banish a card from your hand, and that opponent's monster's current attack and events become half until the end of the turn, making it very difficult for your opponent to swing over this card. We may see a copy of Miss Valley Apex Avian. Apex Avian is definitely a 1-of in the build because this card is actually a walking negate. We may see a copy of Ryza. Ryza is definitely a 1-of in the build. Basically just spin cards off the field and also recover cards out of the graveyard. So this card is definitely a 1-of in the deck. We may see a copy of Dimensional Shifter. Shifter is really good as a 1-of in the build because this card actually helps us out a lot to get cards banished, and if you do draw into this card, you're probably going to instantly win the game by activating him, as a lot of decks don't play around this card very well. So this card is definitely a 1-of in the build, just to help us lock down the graveyard by making everything be banished. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is definitely a 1-of in the build to instantly search out our copy of Map from our deck to our hand. Then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is awesome in the deck to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps when we're going in for all of our plays. Then play a single copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is great in the deck to help us draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand, and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck. We'll make a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good to help us dig into the deck for the exact cards that we need. We'll make a single copy of Spell Card Soul Exchange. This card is an extremely spicy 1-of in the deck that we can actually get to off our copy of Thrust, but this card is the ability immediately after this effect resolves, you can tribute summon 1 monster, and you can tribute monsters your opponent controls even though you do not control them, but it cannot be tributed this turn. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, your opponent can apply the preceding effect, and you can only activate 1 of this card per turn, making it so we can actually tribute our opponent's monsters to tribute summon, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds. Unexplored Winds is definitely a 1-of in the build because this card also helps us tribute our opponent's cards, because this card has the ability you can actually conduct a tribute summon that requires 2 tributes by sending a monster that you control and a card your opponent controls to the graveyard instead of tributing it, which is a pretty cool ability to instantly basically get rid of one of our opponent's cards so we can summon out a card like Impin to our side of the field. This card also helps us fix our hand with the ability that during your main phase, you can actually reveal up to 2 Winged Beast monsters in your hand, place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, and then draw the same number of cards placed by this effect, which is a really cool ability to be able to use, basically just to fix your hand. And then my 2 copies of Thrust. Thrust is definitely a 2-of in the build, as this card can search out so many cool cards in the deck, from spell card Soul Exchange to cards like Ultimate Slayer. This card is definitely a 2-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Ultimate Slayer. Ultimate Slayer is awesome in the deck, because we really don't use the extra deck all that much, so Ultimate Slayer is really good as a thrust target in the deck, just to deal with any monster opponent might have on the field, because this card has an awesome effect that your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to this card's activation, and you send a monster from your X deck to the graveyard, then target a monster your opponent controls with the same card type, Fusion, Synchro, XZ, Pendulum, or Link, and shuffle it into the deck, which is a crazy powerful effect just to deal with your opponent's cards. We then play 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More. Dark Ruler No More is great to basically just turn your opponent's field off so we can go full combo and summon our copy of Impin or use our copy of Ryza to break our opponent's board. We then play 2 copies of Swallow's Cowrie. Swallow's Cowrie is great in the deck and a very skillful card in this deck. This card lets you tribute a Winged Beast monster in your hand or face it on the field to actually add a Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand with the same level as the tributed monster had, which is a great ability just in case your opponent uses a targeting hand trap. You can actually use this card to be able to basically dodge it, which is really cool. Also being able to search out a card that you need, but it also helps us get to our copy of Rabina, which is why I play this card as a 2-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality is great because we really don't special summon this deck, we just normal summon. So this card is awesome to basically just look at the top 3 and add 1 to our hand. We then play 3 copies of the Advent of Adventure. Advent of Adventure is awesome in the deck because this card is basically the road for the build, but it's also a time card. With the ability you can banish a Winged Beast monster from your hand or face from the field to add a Floowandereeze monster or a Floowandereeze field spell from your deck to your hand, then gain 500 life points, which is a crazy powerful effect. We then play 3 copies of Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. This card is definitely a 3-of in the build with the awesome ability that during your main phase, you can actually reveal a level 1 Floowandereeze monster in your hand and banish a Floowandereeze card with a different name from the deck, and then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon the revealed monster, which is a really powerful effect because your Floowandereeze monsters will add themselves back to your hand when you normal summon, so it basically lets you search out the exact card that you need. So this card is really good as a 3-of. Also, this card has the ability, if your opponent normal summons a monster, immediately after the effect resolves, you get to normal summon a Floowandereeze monster, basically making our opponent's turn our turn. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Dreaming Town. Dreaming Town is a card you usually search off your copy of Impin because this card makes our opponent's turn our turn. With the ability that during the main phase, immediately as effect resolves, you get to normal summon a level 4 lower Winged Beast monster, which is a great effect to be able to use this card to disrupt our opponent by putting something on the field like a copy of Ryza or a copy of our Mist Valley Apex Avian. We then play 2 copies of Harpy's Feather Storm. Harpy's Feather Storm, if this card resolves, instantly wins you the game. This card is really, if you control a Winged Beast monster, until the end of this turn, negate any monster effect activated by your opponent, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use, and it's such an insane ability to negate any monster effect your opponent activates, and it's just definitely a 2-of in the build to be able to search off your copy of Thrust or instantly draw into this card. This card is such a powerful hand trap and just really good to be able to use in this deck. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Fucho. Fucho is really good as a 1-of in the build, and so cool to be able to help us make a copy of Zeus just in case we need to. It's just a really good option in the extra deck. Again, the extra deck is full of Ultimate Slayer targets because you really don't summon from the extra deck all that much, so this card is just a really good option just in case you can. We lay a single copy of Assembled Nightingale. Assembled Nightingale is another Zeus target to be able to make in the deck, as this card can actually attack directly. Lay a single copy of Downer Magician just to give our Zeus an additional material. One copy of Zeus. Zeus is just really good to board wipe the field. One copy of Typhon. Typhon is a card you very rarely summon, but when you do, you're usually just going to back it up with some insane cards. But this card is really good to be able to make just in case you need to be able to use this card as a skill drain for 3,000 IR attack with monsters and a bounce. We then play for our Ultimate Slayer targets. We're going to be playing a single copy of Aggregator. Aggregator is great for our XZ target because this card actually is a negate when it does touch the graveyard. We play a single copy of Cloud Beast. Cloud Beast is great to be able to play as an Ultimate Slayer target. As if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and return it back to the hand. I'm going to single copy of Omega. Omega is a great synchro target to be able to use the Ultimate Slayer as well, as if this card's in your graveyard, you can actually target one other card in the graveyard and shove both that card and this card in the grave into the deck. We're going to make a single copy of Garua. Garua is great to help us draw a card if it does touch the graveyard. Play a single copy of Elder Intinist. Elder Intinist just helps us pop an additional card, which is great. Play a single copy of the Tri-Brigade Arms. This card is awesome to be able to send to the graveyard, because then you can actually send your copy of Garua to the graveyard, giving us an additional draw, which is so cool to be able to do a copy of our Ultimate Slayer. And like a single copy of Underworld Goddess just as an option that we can summon just in case it rarely comes up, but it is an option. Like a single copy of Harpy Conductor. Harpy Conductor is a really cool option to be able to play in the deck, especially your copy of Harpy's Feather Storm, basically turning it into a hand trap, which is insane. Like a single copy of SP because it's one of the most generic extract monsters in the entire game to be able to play, and it's a double interruption. Like a single copy of Relinquished Anima. Relinquished Anima actually does come up every so often alongside our copy of Typhon, but this card is really good to basically just link away one of our small birds to be able to make a copy of our Relinquished Anima to gobble up one of our opponent's monsters. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Floowandereeze deck, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's a very budget deck to be able to play, which I absolutely love about this deck. You guys should definitely give this deck a try because it's so insane to be able to play, and it's very, very easy to pilot. To basically just summon out your copy of Impin and control the board. So that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can come part notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.